This slide I chose is important to start my presentation. This is 1990 me selling cold drinks on the footpath of a small town called Devghar, which is in Jharkhand now. I used to sell those cold drinks to make money to educate myself, and I had only one thing in my mind, and that was the dreams. I wanted to become something big. So if we talk about two things which in 1990 still I had in my mind, which I later realized were humble beginnings, and I created my base. So the idea was to create my base and humble beginning. The first one was an act of God which was bestowed upon me, which I now realize was the best thing ever happened to me, that I had a very poor background. I had a humble beginning. Actually, I was so lucky I had that, because that made me realize what is big. That made me realize what it feels when you don't have, when there is scarcity. And that made me realize what's the value, what a human being can impact on and create in his lifetime. That was, of course, the act of God. But the second one which came in my mind was that, yes, you should be a dreamer, but it's very important to realize the practicality of the things is that create your base. Money is important. No matter how big a dreamer you are, money is important. Create your base and then jump on to live your dreams and do more than that, and you'll be able to do it more than that. So this was my starting slide, and then I can go into the second, which is an extension. There's a small painting of mine. It has nothing to do with the slide, but I thought I should show my painting also. Dream with your eyes wide open. This is very important, that dream with your eyes wide open, because those are the dreams which will get you to where you want to go. And I'm telling you, sky's the limit. In fact, there was a point where I had to stop dreaming. Dreams are the maximum what you can go. And if you dream with your open eyes, that's where you can go if you support it with three things. You picture what you dream. Second is you desire, you plan to achieve those dreams, and then you pursue, you decide that I'm going to achieve it. And when you do that, this is what you get. I had a dream to become a CEO of a multinational company by the age of 30, and I did it by 32. And I had a dream of creating one of the largest petrochemical plants on this earth. I did it, and because I pursued it, I planned it, and I did it. And it's very simple, everybody can do it. That's one aspect of it. And if I look into the other aspect of my life, I dreamt of being a filmmaker since my childhood, because when I was in my village, it was the only thing which we had to look outside the world, the cinema. And whenever we used to see cinema, watch cinemas, we used to think that's the world I need to be, that superpower I need to have. And that's where, but I had seen my face in the mirror, so I thought I can't be a hero, but I always thought that I can be a producer or a director. But I also realized that I didn't have the money to do it. So what I did was I planned for it, created a financial base, professionally qualified myself, got a financial base, and then jumped into it. And that's what happened. My first film, Ankhon Dekhi, came in on March 2014, which got several critical acclamation, and I was so happy. But one thing bothered me was that I had a financial loss out of it, and that's where I thought it can't be like this. I can't just do one film, have a financial loss, get a lot of critical acclamation, and go back and do my normal duty. So I dreamt again. Set up a base, created content development team, and did this 4 or 5 more movies. The next was Masaan, then was Dhanak, then was Umrika, then was Waiting. Masaan went in to win one of the coveted international acclamation and prizes. Same was Dhanak and Umrika, one of the first films from India who won in Sundance Film Festival, and Waiting was also recognized and acclaimed. So this happened because I extended the dream forward, saying that, okay, making a film was one dream, but making content-driven films was another thing, and I need to cross that barrier too. And I planned accordingly, set up the base, developed the content development team, signed out with Sundance Screenwriters Lab, developed those writers and the scripts, and got into and converted them into the films. While I was doing my job in Africa, this was going on. So the point again I want to draw is, you can do multiple things at a time. Don't limit yourself. Dream big, work hard, create your base, and grow multifold, because you have got one life. Try to live many lives out of this one life. So learning so far, content is important. Now I'm just turning my presentation towards the filmmaking type, because my subject which I chose here was, what have I learned out of making these Hindi films? Hindi, I call it because Hindi and independent films. And what has been my learning so far, because most of you would be interested to understand the economics behind this filmmaking and why a person would like to continue to make these films, irrespective of what's happening financially. So one of the important things which I learned about this in last 3 years is, content is the king. It's very important that you develop content in your film. That will make your film beautiful, no matter how small it is. So content is very important, and you need to focus on content. Second is the cast. The cast has to be with respect to the story, and not that the star should decide the story. The story should decide who are the actors, and that's why I always call cast and actors and no stars, because content is the real star in the independent movie. The third thing is the production value. Whatever you do, because as an independent film producer, you don't have much of the funds to carry on, so you need to create those stories and those films which can have enhanced production value, so that you get better rate of returns. And of course, music and original score is important, because in India, the Indian audience love music, and that's how they are attracted towards a film. That gives your film an identity, which makes you get more viewers. Then the aspect of budget. Budget is key, because films don't fail, it's the budget that fails. A film can be good enough if it is made out of 5 lakhs, and that same film can be bad enough if it's made out of 2 crores. So you have to be very important, very, very careful on budgeting of the films. Then the first impression is the point which I say is the poster, how you package the film and the trailer. That's where intrigues the viewers, and how they will look at your film and come back and watch in the theaters. Digital and social media are again a powerful thing which has happened in our era, and that plays a very important role in promoting your film, in disseminating the information what your films can do, and it can travel across the viewers and prospective viewers and make them come to the theaters to watch. Because as a filmmaker, the most important thing what you want is more and more viewers to come to the theater and watch the film. And of course, film travels on its own. So one of the best thing what we have done in last 3-4 years is we have made like 6 films, and all the 6 films have traveled across the world in one of the topmost film festivals, and have loved by so many countries and individuals and citizens, that we get this motivation to do more. And piracy. Piracy is here to stay, so prepare yourself, and we need to prepare ourselves to stay along with the piracy. And that's where you need to be very fast enough to do those executions. So for me, filmmaking is a combination of art, science, and economics. It's an art, of course, because it's an art to narrate a story by the use of technology, because how you film it. And then there is an inherent economics, which is very important. If you ignore that economics, you fail. And then that's where you don't go into the next level. So for me, economics is as equally important as art and science in making the film. And that's what I've learned out of the filmmaking. So now I carry through some of the data and some of the interesting information which you would have never heard about a film. Economics of Hindi film making in India. A typical Hindi film, I have written in million rupees, but I can talk in crores. The cost of production of shooting the film up till the production would be around 2 crores. And then you invest in music and miscellaneous others like posters, trailers, etc. would be around 50 lakhs. Music, posters, trailers, etc. and the post-production part. And print and promotion, that is called P&A in the film industry term, would be around 2.5 crores. That takes the total cost to around 50 crores. I'm talking of the films what we have been making. And the economics, not the first one, but then later on. The total thing is around 5 crores. Then go and shoot in those states which gives you a subsidy. Maybe Uttar Pradesh or any other state where you have to do the research. And we did those research and we found and we planted our stories in those states. And we got subsidized in our cost of production from the government help. And that reduces the cost to around 4 crores or 40 million rupees. Now, if you look at the balancing part, the theatrical collection, you can expect around 1.5 to 2 crores. I'll come to that logic. Digital and satellite, around 2 to 3 crores. Now, digital and satellite has a correlation with the theatrical collection. If you do more in theater, you get better on digital and satellite rights. So it's like on the both sides. So you have to focus on both sides. You have to have a better theatrical. Now, how do you have better theatrical? If you have a good content, good poster, good trailer, and a good story which is loved by all, more and more people will come and see it. But there is another interesting aspect which I'm going to talk in the next slide. While miscellaneous exploitation like in the airways, DVD sales, etc., would give you around 20 to 40 lakhs, and international sales, because these movies go to international film festival, there are various territories which are sold and we get some money out of it, and that's where we get around 30 to 60 lakhs, and that gives us a range of 40 to 60. In Hindi, that's Hindi and independent filmmaking, if you can cover up at 70 to 80% or 90% of your cost, you're home. Because then the acclamations and the critical appreciations what you get also needs some cost and the investment. So that's how we try to cover and make the films interesting. Now there's a simple assumption which I want to make and open your eyes on how do we look at it when we make films. Assume the cost of net ticket out of tax is 150 rupees. Number of seats in a theater is around 150. Occupancy assumed at around 50%. Number of screens release happens around 250 because these are small films. These are not the big films where 2,000, 4,000 screens are taken. It's 250 because every screen requires an expense. A number of shows, let's assume three number of shows per screen, which is 2 are primary and 1 maybe in the afternoon show. That gives you an occupancy of around 50%. If you take into that account, and if you want to touch a turnover of 4 crores, that's 40 million, you need at least, at these assumptions, around 7 days of running to give you 4 crores of turnover, which will give you hardly 1.8 to 1.9 crores to the producer because they hardly get 47 to 48% of the collection. So if you go back to the first where I presented the balance sheet about the expenses and the income, and if you have to touch a theatrical of 2 crores, you need to do 4 crores plus. And for 4 crores at 250 screens, at 50% occupancy for 3 shows, you'd need 7 days. And how many viewers you need is 266,000 viewers. That's it. 266,000 viewers are required to cover your cost. And if you want to touch and break the barrier of 10 crores, what you need is 666,000 viewers. But you have to go for 18 days because you have number of screens very less, which never can happen because one after another week there are films which are going to come. So situation is tough, and that's where you need to manage the cost. As I said earlier, is the cost which fails, the budget which fails. And if I do get back to my research, to get these 300, 400,000 odd customers, it's very important you focus on Mumbai and the area which is one of the biggest viewership. Then is the Delhi, Chandigarh, Punjab area, then western area of Ahmedabad. From our experience of last 5, 6, 7 movies, we see most of our customers coming from this area. So select your screens in these areas and focus your advertisements and P&A in these areas and get maximum out of it. The objective is to get these 300, 400,000 odd viewers to come and watch your movie in first 3 days. To conclude my presentation, I'd like to focus on one important thing is to increase the viewership base from this 200, 300 odd thousand viewers to 500 to 700 odd thousand viewers. And this can only be achieved by second is brand value creation. Treat your filmmaking business as FMCG product and make films after films content driven so that when people come and watch, they love your film, they go back and talk about it, and when you release the next, they come back and see it without you much spending on P&A or convincing them. And then, of course, viewers' delight. Cross their expectation with each film, what you make. so that they get delighted and watch and ask and talk about it more. On economies of scale, of course, you should go for increased number of film production. That will give you more economies of scale and reduce the cost of production to the lowest level and make you more viable. International Film Festival is also one of the points which is very important, which will make your film recognized internationally. And then, of course, quick exploitation. You need to exploit your films very quickly, whether it's digital rights, satellite rights, or any other rights, because piracy is there and here to stay. I think with this, I would like to conclude my presentation, and I hope it will give you the economics behind production of indie film. Thank you so much.